and wonderful day. Um, Two things I'm going to start off with, which are not really motivating, or rather, they are two things that are of concern and will continue to be a concern that hopefully should motivate us all to do better. And then I'm going to get into some motivating, inspiring words. We're going to do a short broadcast today. I will, I did pick up another client, so I will let you all know that Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I may get into this space just a few minutes late. Um, so if you check like 11:01, 11:02, I should be here. Again, that's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. This is going to be our last full week before we take a break, and then we will come back on the first Monday in December. So next week we will not be on, we will not be airing. That is going to be Thanksgiving week. It's also going to be my birthday week. My birthday is on November 27th. So the best way to wish me happy birthday is to support something in my store, which is on Linktree under Shantae Charles. If you want to say happy birthday to me that way, that would be great. But I want to start out with a story that is actually coming out of my state today, Maryland, out of Waldorf, Maryland. And let me take a look at the statistics around Waldorf, Maryland before I get into this very quickly. And let me make sure that my security controls are where they need to be on, let's see, YouTube. There we go. All right, now I can hop into it. So let's look at the data for Waldorf, Maryland. As I was sharing with someone, we've been having this discussion about sundown towns online on my Black Table Talk page. So if you're not over there, I want you to go to that post. It says sundown towns, and it's a twofer, it's videos. But if you've been listening to us on IG, you've heard that conversation. If you have not, you can go to our Black Table Talk Facebook page. This is Charles County, Maryland, Waldorf, Maryland. A Maryland boy is recovering after parents say he was hung, 7-year-old boy hung, while horse playing in a school bathroom. Now, the school district is reporting it as horse playing, but you don't horseplay by hanging a 7-year-old child in a bathroom, a black child in a bathroom. Again, this is coming out of Waldorf, Maryland. And C. Paul Barnhart Elementary School needs to give an actual answer for what happened in that bathroom. They do not need to be brushing this aside as horseplay. There's a song by South Pacific that says you have to be carefully taught. Okay? This is not normal behavior to be trying to attempt to hang a 7-year-old black boy in a bathroom in an elementary school. Okay? So again, black people, while you are teaching your children love, compassion, mercy, kindness, caring for others, empathy, other people are teaching their children how to hang your child in a bathroom in an elementary school. I want you to understand what time it is and what time we are living in. We've been having this conversation also, not just about sundown towns, but we have been in this conversation about red state versus blue state. And some of you all are still not listening to black women. Some of us have already told you what time of day it is, and we have said, if at all possible, if you can get to a blue state or a blue county or a blue city, do that for the safety of yourself, because what we're about to go into in this country is not going to be pretty. However, I did give the caveat that even if you find a blue state, that does not mean that you are landing in a blue county or a blue town. Okay. So we're going to look up very quickly the stats on Waldorf and see what the stats are here. All right, Waldorf, Maryland, from the last census had a population of 81,000 people. The largest ethnic groups in Waldorf are Black or African American, so it is predominantly African American, 62%. It is 20% white, 2% um, biracial, no, 6% biracial, 3% Asian, and 3% Hispanic. All right. So my next question is going to be, in a predominantly Black town, why is this happening? What is the message being sent for this to have happened in this town? Okay. Median household income there is pretty high. It's in the six figures. The property value is about 350, 360. The average, most people drive to work there. The schools there are said to be above average. 55% of the residents say there is a good sense of community. 54% of people say LGBTQ residents are usually treated well. This is in southern Maryland's Charles County, and it was once known as Beantown and later called Maryland's Little Vegas. All right. So let me do one more thing. All right. Moving to Maryland racism issues. And here we go. It says that Charles County, let's see, someone said something here about Charles County, which is where this is. So let me back up. Let me backtrack. Okay. It was a sundown town. Bingo. Here we are. So a sundown town turned minority population goes up, but there's still some people in this area that want you to know what they are. It never fails. Anytime I see these kind of incidences and I go to the internet and I type in the town or the county and type in sundown town, it never fails. It was a sundown town. It was called Little Vegas, as Waldorf had a hotel and casino back then. So it gets moved from being called Little Vegas because of its historical past. All right. Sometimes these sundown towns hide. Okay. Sometimes they hide behind new names. Okay. So this area was a sundown town. Okay. There are some other ones on here, but this area was a sundown town. So now, that being said, the parents definitely need to look into what happened to their child at that school, and the school and authorities just saying it was horse playing when this child is traumatized. So that's that. What's the other thing I wanted to share? So that was one thing I wanted to talk about. Oh, in celebrity news, congratulations to Jonathan Majors and Megan Good. They are now engaged. That's all I have to say about that. What else did I want to talk about? It'll come back to me, hopefully. But yeah, that's a whole problem. That is a whole problem. Parents, we know that our incoming government is looking to attack DEI, is looking to attack people of color, is looking to attack marginalized people. You're going to have to step up and get it more involved in what's happening with your child and school. You're just going to have to. There's no way around that. So, yes, as a parent, you should be on high alert in the climate that we're about to go into. I'm not going to sugarcoat that for you. I'm just going to say, step it up in the ways that you can. Get your village together. Be ready. to protect the children in your life, especially in public school spaces. All right. Two readings today I want to give you. I feel like they are very good in terms of motivating us for the Monday. And I still can't remember. I still can't remember the other piece. But before we go into that, last night I spent some time doing what Toni Morrison said artists do during this time of life is when artists get to work. It's when they get to work creating and all of those good things. So last night I was working on some miniature painting. I'm going to do a couple more of these. I'll be gifting them over the holidays. Some miniature paintings. And then I started working on a piece called Nigger Head Rock. And this is what I got done on last night. It is based out of a dream that I had. And in the dream, I was walking along this path. And along the path, there was this huge black rock formation that just kept going and going and going. It was all a connected rock formation coming out of the ground. And as I was walking and I turned to look at the rock formation itself, these figures began to appear out of the rock. And it was like they were kind of cemented in the rock, but they were still moving in the rock, and I could see their faces, and some of their faces kind of looked sad, some were crying, some of their bodies were kind of like contorted. And I woke up from the dream with the word Nigger head rock was the word that I woke up to. So I went and looked it up, and it turns out that it was in reference to a specific rock formation that was a scientific term, but also that was a name that was used in several parts of our country where um, racists hung out, basically. I'll just kind of summarize it. And so they would call these areas and these spaces, or anytime they would see these big black rock formations, that's what they would call them. And so for me, it was a very powerful dream because it was information that I was being given ancestral wise, and information that was being given from my dreams on stuff I didn't know about. So I started just kind of researching it. And around the time that I was researching it, I think something happened at Mizzou, or the Missouri, University of Missouri, happened a couple years back when I got this dream. And so now I have finally had the time to really start putting down what I felt and saw in the dream. So this is my interpretation of my dream. I'm not done. I still have to do the background and trying to figure out, what symbolism I want to add back here. But this was the painting part that I got done on last night. It took me a couple of hours, but I got it done. So just wanted to show you this part of a work in progress. All right. Now, so if you're an artist, I want to encourage you to create. Get to work. Now, let's go to our readings for today. The first one is called Pour Me a Cup. Pour Me a Cup. Charles Rangel, Congressman, we deserve everything we can get. We spilled the blood, we shed the tears. No one has given more than us, and now it's payback time. A friend of mine attending a conference was surprised to notice that everyone at the breakfast table had coffee but him. He felt a little miffed and said, "Why didn't I get coffee?" A guest at the table answered, "Your cup is upside down. You have to turn your cup over. When it comes to receiving all that life has to offer, we must turn our cup over. Why do we have such qualms about anticipating and accepting abundance? Maybe it's due to the role that Black Americans have been forced to play in society. Historically, we have rendered services that were largely taken for granted. Years of enslavement and discrimination have taken their toll on our collective psyche. We learn to give to others but expect nothing for ourselves. In order to invite abundance into our lives, we need to feel worthy of the myriad blessings life has to offer. peace and harmony, health and energy, supportive relationships, a decent education, and satisfying careers, to name a few. Whatever the reasons for our hesitancy in accepting all forms of prosperity, it is important now that we change any limiting beliefs and awaken to the realization that we deserve to live abundant lives. We need to turn our cups over and allow abundance to pour in until it overflows. Say this with me today. I deserve to live abundantly. I am worth every blessing life has to offer. And as I was reading this devotional, I was like, man, this is so true that a lot of people have learned or they've been programmed to give to others but expect nothing for themselves. That makes sense when every time Black people say, what is in it for us when it comes to elections or when it comes to giving our voice to something, people come back to Black people, especially, and say, well, you should just do this. What do you mean, what's in it for you? When Black people asked for tangibles during the election, people were acting like we didn't need to ask for anything. We should just still expecting us to expect nothing in 2024. Well, that ship has sailed, okay? It sailed. Get over it. Black people do expect something. They do expect something to be done for the numerous unaddressed injustices that have happened in this country. That's all. Which leads me, interestingly enough, to our next devotion. And then I'm going to call it a day. What do you bring to the table? Ruth B. Love, an educator, said this: the roots of happiness grow best in the soil of service. What do you bring to the table? Do you add value to the lives of others? Well, the argument could be made that Black people have added so much value to the United States that they could not even pay us into perpetuity for how much value that Black Americans have added to this country. And yet they offer nothing. Do you bring peace, understanding, or knowledge? Perhaps you think you can continue to take while providing nothing in return. After all, doesn't everybody do it? It doesn't hurt. Well, you're wrong. It does hurt. The following story proves the point. Listen in. An African chief invited the men of the tribe to a great feast. All the food will be provided, he announced, but each of you must bring a jug of wine. Ali wanted to attend the feast but had no wine to give. His wife suggested, you could buy a jug of wine. It's not too expensive. How foolish, Ali cried. To spend money where there is a way to go free? Rather than wine, I know, I will carry water in my jug. No one will notice. It won't hurt to add one jug of water to the great pot of wine. On the day of the feast, his guests gathered in the chief's home. As each man entered the tribal grounds, he poured his jug of wine into a large earthen pot. Ali carefully added the contents of his container, greeted the chief, and joined the others. When all the guests had arrived, the chief commanded the servants to fill everyone's glass. As the chief blessed the feast, the guests raised their glasses and drank. Suddenly, a cry of disbelief arose from the crowd. What they tasted was not wine, but water. You see, each guest had decided that his jug of water would not spoil the pot of wine. It is certain when we take out more than we give, when we sneak by without giving our best, it hurts us all. Today and every day, my motto is giving when it is expected and not shortchanging. All right. This has been another episode of Daring Dialogues, and I've been your host today, Shantae Charles. I hope that I have said something, read something, brought an awareness to you in an area that maybe you didn't know about and maybe you didn't know what was going on. Hopefully, as you go throughout this day, you will take time for yourself. You will take time to review what this message has been today. Number one, make sure that you follow through and live up to your own expectations of yourself. Don't shortchange in any way. Number two, You should be able to expect from other people when you are giving. Don't have someone putting all the expectation on you and never expecting you to want anything back. You have the responsibility to make sure that when you're giving, that you are also receiving. It's not always a give, 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 but it's sometimes a give and a take. You deserve to be treated well, just like everybody else. If you have children, I encourage you to keep an eye on what is happening in schools. Keep an eye on what is happening with administrators. Have more specific talks with your children right now in this hour about what is happening on a global and national scale when it comes to protecting themselves, protecting their rights, speaking up for themselves, and being safe when you, the parent, guardian, are not around. All right? Thank you so much for your time and attention. We're going to the talk back now on IG. If you'd like to join us there, the IG handle is at Daring Dialogues. Remember, light is the most daring opposition to darkness, so continue to go out and be light. Take care. All right.